Hi everyone, and welcome to our first live deployment session. So it's end of August, and we just launched the Deeploy application fully with the escrow system, with the chain list monitoring job scheduler, and with all the bells and whistles that allow any cloud service provider to deploy complex cloud native jobs on Ratio1 Edge Cloud. So we're not gonna get into much details with respect to what does it mean to have a cloud native or a cloud ready application. I'm just gonna give you a very brief introduction on simple steps to create a open container image version of your application. So without more introduction information, let's get straight to the presentation. What we are going to do, we are going to deploy the Ratio1 decentralized private storage on the Ratio1 network. First of all, let's have a look at the application that we are trying to deploy. And there you go, Ratio1 Drive. This is the application. And we already prepared in this repo two different mandatory things that allow you to create a container image that can be run actually almost everywhere, not only on Ratio1, but this particular application uses the Ratio1 underlying SDK and APIs. So this is a Node.js application. I think it's a Next.js application specifically. And the two things that I want to tell you, I'm not going to get into the details of the application itself. You can check for more information about the application itself. You can check the blog post created by my colleague Vitaly. So I'm going to show you the Docker file and the Git action that basically allows the creation of a new image at each individual push on the main repository. Here's the Docker file. It's a very straightforward Docker file imported from Node, Alpine. Basically, it's a very straightforward Docker file. It copies the information, it builds, copies the file, sorry, it builds all the application, and then it starts. This is the start command for the container. So this is the definition of the image, and this is the start command of the container. But this alone does not do the trick. You also need a Git action. So we have a GitHub workflows. We have a continuous integration script, YAML file that takes us through multiple steps. Most important step is the Docker file. My colleagues actually did a little bit of extra beautification of the whole action of the whole continuous deployment pipeline. As a matter of fact, it doesn't have a lot of continuous integration stuff. It's more like a continuous deployment stuff. So this CI probably should have been named more likely like a CD, not like a CI. Okay, so the most important part is the Docker build, and everything is pretty straightforward. We log into the Docker Hub account. We need a secret attached to the repo, the username and the token, and we just call the build push action that is already created by Docker, available for GitHub users. And of course, we take the Docker file, the default Docker file, and everything will be executed smoothly. So basically, this is the Docker file, as I was saying. This is the Docker file build action. As I was saying, it uses the Docker file in our repository. The last image was pushed 12 minutes ago. So we do have the image ready. This is the pull command for the container image, and we can actually run this anywhere. As a matter of fact, if we run this application on a normal machine, it will not work because it will not find the needed APIs that are provided by the Ratio1 Edge node. And this is extremely important because, as I was saying, this application in particular, although it's written in Next.js, it uses the Edge APIs provided by the Edge node for any Node.js or any other kind of applications. Totally cross-platform, totally cross-programming language. Okay, what we are going to do, we are going to take the image and we are going to deploy it on Ratio1 network. First of all, let's check if we have in this account. Okay, so this is an account that already has been registered as a cloud service provider. So it has an Oracle. It has an Oracle that has been provided by this account to the network, and it has registered itself as a cloud service provider by creating a escrow, a specific escrow smart contract that will basically hold all the funds for all the jobs that we run for this particular cloud service provider. So we have USDC in our wallet, everything is fine. So let's move on and let's go to deploy ratio1.ai. Okay, let's log in. And there you go, I signed in, and now it's authenticating my CSP wallet inside the Deeploy application. Okay, so after authenticating, the Deeploy application shows us our escrow smart contract address. So very important note here, if we don't have an Oracle, we will not be allowed to sign into the application. If we do have an Oracle in our wallet, but we don't have yet a cloud service provider account, the system will propose the creation of a smart contract. A new smart contract, a new escrow smart contract will be created especially for us, and we will be the actual owners of the smart contract. So what we're going to do right now, we are going to basically sign a second time the authentication process, and this time we confirm that we want to start the deploy application with this escrow contract, and we will get all the jobs that have been deployed and are running with this particular escrow contract. And the system basically is requesting the whole network for all the jobs that my cloud service provider account has been provided since the beginning of the deploy system. There you go. So we got logged in. We already have a running job right now. If we go to the dashboard, we're gonna see the previous job that has been deployed by my particular cloud service provider. So this is the previous job. It had a total budget of $131. The cost per epoch is 38 cents. It has been paid in full for 180 epochs. And from those 180 epochs, 8 epochs passed, and the rewards have been distributed, and we still have 172 epochs remaining. And as you can see, we have two different nodes, so each day, each epoch, the rewards are split between two different nodes. Okay, so this is the previous job. Let's add a new job. We have three different types of jobs that we can start at this moment, and a fourth one, the worker application runner, will be released quite soon. The first type, I'm gonna read from right to left. The first type is the service type of job, where you basically can spin off a PostgreSQL or a MongoDB or other database servers. And this is a list of services, of data services and other types of non-database related services that will grow in time. The native application are applications that have been developed particularly for Ratio1 network, such as the Red Mesh, and we're gonna cover Red Mesh pen testing framework in a different video. So that leaves us with generic applications, which basically consist in any application that conforms with the minimal standards of the cloud native applications. That means it's either stateless or stateful. We accept both stateful as well as stateless applications, but most importantly, it resides in a container image. What we have to do right now, we have to create a new project because we're going to deploy a new application. We can deploy inside this project, inside Ratio1 calculator, we can deploy different jobs. Maybe we have a front end, maybe we have another back end, maybe we have a database. However, in this particular project, we only have a single container image that runs the whole system. What is very important before creating a web project, a generic application project, or during the creation of the project, we have to create a tunnel. We have to create basically the URL, the deploying web URL access mechanism that allows anyone to access our horizontally scaled application from Ratio1. Before starting the project, I'm gonna go to the tunnels. I know it might seem a little bit heavy on security, but it's very important that all these steps are protected with your own wallet private keys. It looks like we already created the tunnel. Tunnel creation is not something complicated. Basically, you just write the an alias of the tunnel, and this is it. So I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna take the token of this tunnel. And as you can see, this is the URL of the token. If we click on the URL, nothing will happen because there is nothing that listens behind this tunnel. Okay, so I took that information and I'm gonna save it somewhere. Let's save it here. Let's create a project, add OneDrive. Okay, so this is a project, it's an empty project, and we're gonna create the generic application. Now, we just started the wizard for the creation of a new job inside this project. The project itself will be similar to the first one, meaning there will be only one job inside this project, only one container application will run horizontally balanced on two different nodes. We're gonna select the cheapest container type with no GPU. It's good enough for our program, for our application. Okay, we're gonna review what we choose. I'm gonna pay it for 6 months, so it's $135 total. We go next to the deployment, and now after we prepared the payment, we didn't commit the payment. As you could see, there was no message from my wallet with respect to the payment. I have to input all the information with respect to what image and what parameters this image should have. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna write here a name, add OneDrive app. Okay, so by default, the application will be deployed based on highest availability on the network. However, for this particular demonstration, we're gonna choose two specific nodes that are going to run this application in particular. So we need the node addresses for both of them. Let's copy here the image. We could add also the tag, but it's not really required because we don't have multiple tags. So, and we do have the latest, so the latest by default is the tag that it's being taken. Okay, this application in particular, it's not configured to accept. I don't think it's configured to accept configurable ports. I think it uses a standard port. Let me check which one. 3333. So what we are going to do right now, we are telling Deeploy that besides these two nodes that has to run the application, besides the actual image that has to be run on those two nodes, there is a very important parameter, which is the port that it's used by those applications to listen to the outside world. And within the edge node system, we will use this port to forward all information to outside and to that link that you already see here, which is still not functioning because we didn't deploy the application. So for the tunnel token, we're gonna take the information that we previously saved from the tunnels. We don't have any environment variables. We can have environment variables, of course. We do have a restart policy and an image pull policy, and I'm gonna leave them on default, both of them. We're gonna add the job. There you go, the job was added. What we have to do right now, we have to pay the job. The monthly cost estimate is 22.5. The job is prepared, the description, everything. We are ready to go. So I'm gonna go to payment. I'm gonna approve the amount for 135 USDC. Okay, the amount was approved. Okay, and now we are gonna pay and deploy. We have the summary of application, all the information, basically the most important information, it's summarized here. We just pay and deploy. We have to sign the deployment message for each individual job. There is only one job with two different workers, so we just have to sign once. Okay, and now we wait for the deployment. So at this moment, the decentralized application just sent the request to the Oracle network, to the Ratio1 Oracle network, requesting the deployment of this application that has been paid for. So right now we are waiting for the confirmation from the Oracle network that will tell us that the application has been deployed. Okay, so we launched the job. We now have two running jobs. Previously we had only one running job. As you can see, we launch our R1 drive. We have the second project that runs one job on two nodes. The only thing that is left for us to do is go in the application that didn't work previously, as you remember, and just run a refresh. And there you go, the application is up and running. So it actually shows which of the two nodes answer to the login, and everything works as it is supposed to be working. Okay, guys, thank you and see you next time.